real quick, I just want to say thank you all. I sort of was a last-minute addition to Hal-Con, and I'm very honored to be here this year. I've wanted to come here for some time because I've gotten to make a few friends from the area, so I'm glad that they probably pushed a little bit for me to be here, so I want to thank them, but I'm really happy to be in Nova Scotia. It's obviously very humbling and an honor to be here 25 years after I started Power Rangers, and to know that the TV show and the film and our characters had an influence and an impact on so many lives around the world. And I'm always humbled and honored to get to meet so many people. So after this, if you haven't come to my table yet, please come to my table. I say you don't have to buy anything, because you really don't. There's no pressure. I just like to say hi to you. So if you want to do that, please do so. If you want an autograph, I'll be there for that too. And you can take a selfie with me as well. And then I'll be here all day tomorrow as well. But okay, let's move on.
I love you already. You're so nice.
Aw.
You're so sweet. Well, I think, isn't he right? I think one of the reasons that con crowds love you so much is because you were the nerd. And then but that was cool. And we like that a lot.
Yeah.
We'd like to think that we're cool too.
Well, nerds obviously rule the world.
They
I
do.
mean, I think Beyonce says girls rule the world or something like that, but nerds rule the world. So no, it's very cool to be a nerd. It's very attractive to be smart. So I was honored to play Billy. I was not a smart person in real life. I was a very average person, so getting to play a character that was so intelligent challenged me, not only as an actor, but as a human being, because I would have to look up a lot of the words that Billy said in the dictionary just to figure out what my character was saying. So I became more of a nerd by playing Billy, which is cool.
I love that so much. I didn't know that about you. Can you give an example of a word you had to look up? There's a lot of words.
God, there was a ton. All I remember really is one of my favorite lines was a fully sentient, multifunctional automaton. So I was like, I was really dumb. I didn't know what sentient means, so I had to look up sentient, fully sentient, multifunctional. Kind of got it. Automaton, what the heck is an automaton? Oh, it's a robot. Who knew? So it was pretty cool.
That's great. Maybe we can get you back here next year and do a spelling bee or something.
That would be great. They do a spelling bee here?
No, we
Oh,
would.
you want me to do a spelling? I'll come back and we'll do a spelling bee. Yeah, that'd be great.
No one else would be hosting this except you.
Except me.
Yeah, we wouldn't do it if it weren't for you.
I'll pick really good
for sure.
words too.
So I think we have some fans ready to ask you some questions. So let's get that started.
Yay. You're the second Power Ranger I've met. A couple years ago, Johnny Youngbosch came here, and so I got to meet him too, so it's cool. But I've always loved Power Rangers. It was something when I was little, it was on, so I watched Jungle Fury, and I went back and watched every other season. But then I kind of decided at 16 that for some reason I didn't want people to know that. But I basically decided when I started university that I shouldn't let other people decide what I like. So now I'm super open. I'm just I will tell you my favorite Power Rangers from each season, just ask. So I just wanted to know, because it means so much to me, and the show came out 6 years before I was born. How does it feel to know that this show that came out 25 years ago still touches and helps people all over the world?
Yeah, I mean, it's, as I was saying, it's really humbling. Obviously, I don't think any of us in the original cast had any idea of the impact that the television show or that our characters would have on so many people's lives. So, and we didn't really start understanding that probably until about 10 years ago, when we kind of started getting into the Comic-Con world, and you guys as fans started coming to us, and with social media, it makes it so much easier for people to communicate with us. And I get stories every day on Instagram or Twitter or Facebook, just telling me, like how my character helped them or encouraged them. And like what you were saying, it's so great that you don't let people dictate your life now. Like you're like, hey, here I am. I'm a big Power Ranger fan. And so that's awesome. So it's really cool. And I like to hear that, you started with Jungle Fury, but you went back to the beginning and you're addicted to it all. So you're a big Power Ranger fan. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Hi. When I was a kid, Power Rangers was like the biggest thing. It became a worldwide phenomenon that just struck kids. But for anybody who wasn't in that age bracket, it just went over everybody's head and like, what the heck is this show? What's the appeal? But my question is kind of, when you got the job, what did you think of this weird concept to take a Japanese show and for you to only shoot half of the show and do voice work for the actually exciting part?
Wait, which part was the exciting part? The Japanese part or the American part? No, it was, when I first got the role, I don't think we really understood what the show was going to be about. Like, the producers kind of tried to explain it to us, and we still didn't understand the concept because I don't think it had really been done before, where they were editing footage from another show into a new show. And, the Japanese version and the American version are very drastically different. Theirs is so dark and deals with death and crazy stuff, and ours is oriented towards kids. So I can only speak for myself, I didn't really understand the whole concept until we saw the first, as we call it now, the unaired pilot that we shot to sell the show in America. And even from that, a lot of things changed from that original pilot. Like Zordon was called Zoltar, and the way that we morphed was really weird. Like, because I was the Triceratops, you would see my head and it would morph into a Triceratops, which looked really not attractive. And so, a lot changed. So, and then it became, as you said, this phenomenon that is really sort of inexplicable in so many ways. But I think the TV show had everything that kids love. So dinosaurs, superheroes, colors. We were a diverse group ethnically. And I was the nerd, and the fact that a nerd had friends and got to hang out with a group of friends, it really gave people hope in so many ways, and people from different ethnic backgrounds had a lot of hope too. They finally got to see like African American or black people got to see a black superhero. Asian people got to see an Asian superhero, and women got to see female superheroes. So, we just had all these great elements that got people excited. And of course, Austin St. John really knew how to say, it's morphin' time, and so like, he sort of set the tone of this excitement. So it was pretty cool. Does that sort of answer your question?
Yeah. Did you ever feel kind of stupid doing some of it before it became what it was?
Of course. It was, I moved to LA to be an actor, and you always have these hopes of Emmy Award winning, Golden Globe, Academy, all that kind of stuff of acting. And, and then you're asked to we're being asked to fight a lipstick. That was like one of our monsters that we fought. So a lipstick, or a purse, or a brick, or a pig. So, we would step back and go, oh my gosh, what are we doing? But yeah, I don't know if I guess I did feel stupid for sure. Yeah, great question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I mean, raise your hand if you've ever been personally victimized by a lipstick, though. Yeah, that's what I thought. Not stupid at all. Very common experience.
Hi. I know that you had a very difficult exit from the Power Rangers series. I'm just wondering how difficult it was for you to return to doing events like this and just being with the Power Rangers series in general.
I mean, the difficulty isn't obviously with Power Rangers or the fandom or the character that I played by any means. The difficulty was more of personal issues with me. Those of you that don't know, I'm a gay person, and in the 90s, being gay was not easy. And if you wanted to be a successful actor, you certainly couldn't admit that you were gay. And so I really struggled a lot with my sexuality. And unfortunately, there were some people on the TV show that made my work environment less than desirable, and a lot of rumors were started about me. And, essentially, the feeling in the 90s was that if it were to be found out that I was one of the Power Rangers was gay, on the TV show it could destroy the TV show, because so many people in America were against being gay, and especially in middle America, and so that would lose a lot of ratings and a lot of money if that were to be the case. And so that's when you saw Billy suddenly not be a Power Ranger anymore, and he became a technical advisor. So there were all these things going on behind the scenes, and unfortunately, at a certain point, I just had to leave the show because mentally it was taking a toll on me, where I was contemplating suicide quite often. So I just thought it was best that I left. So it was hard at that time, but in terms of coming back and talking with fans and talking about Power Rangers, that part's not difficult. I mean, I cherish the character that I got to play. I thought Billy was awesome. I really felt as an actor, I got to take him from being super, super nerdy to somebody that grew and became confident in his abilities. And even though I left the show and I walked off and quit, and the writers had to figure out a way to how to write Billy off because I wasn't there, they sent Billy off into outer space to live on another planet, which is probably perfect for my character. And I like that that's how it ended for my character. So when it's all said and done, I think everything worked out the way that it was supposed to. Does that answer your question?
Yes, and I just wanted to say thank you, and that Billy should have been the Gold Ranger.
Well, thank you for saying that. Thank you. I won't tell Austin you said that. But no, that's very kind of you. I do hear that a lot, that Billy should have been the Gold Ranger, and quite often people will come to Comic-Cons now with Gold Ranger figures and ask me to autograph it instead of Austin. So.
Hey,
How are you?
So after all these years later, how weird is it that your character is named after Bryan Cranston?
Say it one more time.
With all these years later, with Bryan Cranston being the actor he is now, how weird is it that your character was named after him?
How do I feel?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's cool. If you're a fan of Bryan Cranston.
As I said to you before, thank you for making an impact on my childhood. I'm sure a lot of us drop kick trees and pretend to punch putty people. My question to you...
we were banned in Canada for a while, just FYI, because we were too violent. So,
my question for you is, I just wanted you to give us some details on the choreography, how they set it up for you, what you guys had to go through to get it onto the TV screen, the training and...
So I mean, all of us came from some kind of a physical background. Like Amy Jo and I were competitive gymnasts most of our young lives, and then Jason David Frank and Austin and Twee were martial artists, and Walter Jones was a dancer. So we all brought some kind of physical aspect to the TV show, and so we were pretty much in shape to begin with, unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know, but the way that we shot the TV series, it was very fast-paced, and we didn't have a lot of time to rehearse anything. So, you know, we would show up to set, and they'd be like, okay, you have a fight today, and this is what we want you to do. And you would have about 5 to 15 minutes to figure it out and work it out. And then they'd say, rolling, which means we're filming it. So, you know, luckily we were all very physical as it was, and so we could just pick things up relatively quickly. But just the nature of our show, I think the first season we shot 40 episodes, and because the show was such a hit, they ordered an additional 20 episodes. So we had a lot of work to do. And so it was just showing up and getting 5 to 15 minutes, shooting it. We'd only do like 2 to 3 takes, and then that was it. So, you know, I think I was really proud of all of us for doing what we did so quickly without getting injured. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Did you want some big dramatic, like, oh yeah, you know, we had to go through this, that, and the other?
No, that's okay. Thank
Okay,
you.
just want to make sure. I'll make something up for you.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good to see you again.
Yeah.
Is it Sebastian?
Yes, it is.
Okay, good.
Thank you for recognizing me again. I just, you know, first I want to say that if I'm having a bad day, I'll still go back and watch the original show and the original movie. And my question is kind of a silly one. So Billy's creature was a triceratops, and I'm wondering what your personal morph creature would be if you had to pick one.
I mean, I've always been attracted to panthers, so I would say like a panther. I don't know why, I don't like cats. No offense to all you cat owners, but they bother me. But I think a panther is pretty cool. I've just always been attracted to them.
I would agree.
Does that work?
Cool. Yeah, yeah. That
Not,
works.
not like I want to be the Black Panther, but that would have been a cool, you know, it's an awesome superhero.
Yeah.
What about you? What would yours be?
I would say probably an elephant. So I really like elephants. I think they're really smart. So.
They apparently are very smart.
Yeah. Well, thank you for answering my question.
Thank you, and it's good to see you again.
Hi, I've never actually done anything like this before. I'm very nervous up here for some reason. Somebody touched earlier on the different physicalities and things that you had to do the fight scenes on the show. And I just want to say that I was apparently a little bit older than most of the people here when I started watching Power Rangers. It came on when I was about 16 years old. And I was very attracted to the show in general and to the character of Billy because he was such a nerd and because I was such a nerd. I was such a weird kid. And I came from such a small community that being the weird kid, the nerd, that was not cool. So I saw Power Rangers and went, what they're doing is cool. I want to do that. And I very much got into martial arts. Proud to say I eventually, after about years, got my black belt recently. And I'm just wondering if you, because you said you had a background in gymnastics, if you ever went on to train in any kind of martial arts or if anything like that ever appealed to you after doing the show.
I never got into martial arts after the show, and I mean, they trained me in television martial arts, so that's all I really did because I was a gymnast. So, you know, and then after I left the show, I am physical in different ways, like I like to run and lift weights and hike and do yoga as opposed to still flipping around or whatever. The thing I do like about martial arts is the discipline of it. I think it's really good for kids because it teaches them discipline and it teaches them to work towards a goal because you're always working towards getting another belt. So I do like that, and maybe if I had not been such a great gymnast in my life, maybe I would have picked up martial arts when I was younger. I do remember when I was in 3rd grade, I took Taekwondo for a while, but because I was such a good gymnast, my parents then put me into you know, private gymnastics schools. So I was busy doing that, but yeah, I never picked it up after I left. Hopefully that doesn't disappoint you.
Not at all. You do it really well. You fooled me.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much.
And I'm glad you embraced your nerdiness.
eventually, it took a lot of years and a lot of courage and a lot of self-searching, and it really did help me get through a lot of that, because I just saw a lot of nerdiness, and I just went, I love this, and for the first time in my life, I really don't care if you people like it or not.
Well, that's good, and that's how we should all live. Good job.
Hi, I'm short for this mic, sorry.
I'm short too, so don't worry about it.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so first the story and then I'll get to my questions. So I was in that age bracket when Power Rangers first came out and it exploded. And I remember when I was probably 7, and our school like banned kids from going as Power Rangers for Halloween because it encouraged, and my mom was like, what, that's silly, you're going as a Power Ranger. So I went as a Power Ranger. But yeah, I guess my question, I don't know if this is redundant, but do you have a favorite Power Ranger other than the one you played? If so, who are they?
Like a favorite character Power Ranger other than myself?
Yeah.
I mean, from my seasons?
Yeah, like the earlier ones.
I don't think I have a favorite. I think what I liked, I'm sorry, I thought I cut off for a second. I liked everybody, to be honest. I just thought, if you want to have your favorite Power Ranger, that's great. But what I notice in the characters is that each one of those characters had something different to offer the team. And I think that's sort of how we need to live in the world, is like looking at everybody's goodness and what they can bring to it, as opposed to like, oh yeah, I just like that guy. Like, check everybody out, and like everybody brought something to the original team, I think, and so I just really enjoyed all of them. And to be honest, I'm very partial to Billy. I couldn't imagine playing another character. I originally auditioned for the role of Jason. At that time, it was called Victor. So I had 3 auditions for the role of the Red Ranger, but I could tell that they weren't going to cast me. So I begged to read for the role of Billy, and they told me no. They just didn't think I looked like what Billy would look like, or that I fit the character breakdown. And so I had to think on the spot and create Billy. And I went in the bathroom and wet my hair down and borrowed somebody's glasses and borrowed somebody's button-up shirt and buttoned it wrong. And I went back and I begged the producers and the casting director to let me read for the role, and they were like, all right. And so I went in and I read for it, and they liked what I did, and they called me back 5 other times. So I like to tell that to people, because so often in life we're told no. But if you believe in yourself and you believe that you can really do something, you should do what it takes to make sure that you get a fair shot. And so I really wanted to make sure that I got a fair shot, and I ended up getting the role of Billy.
That's great, thank you.
So you're welcome.
Hello again. So my question is, since Power Rangers franchise has been purchased by someone else, and I've noticed a lot more marketing and stuff being pushed around and things being out, do you see more Power Rangers stuff coming out in the next bit? Like, I know Jason has been working on the Power Ranger versus Street Fighter stuff and a lot of the YouTube things and the Lord Dracon and the Shattered Grid. Just wondering, like, do you see any other original stuff making its way into our lifestyle?
I don't know. I honestly don't have the answer for you. So since Hasbro bought the franchise, hopefully Hasbro will step up to the plate and do other things. I mean, I think it's been great to see what Boom Studios has been doing with the comic books. I don't know if you guys have been reading those. There's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the comics, and also Go-Go Power Rangers, which are both based on the original characters. And I think they're both very well done. And then now they've moved it into Shattered Grid. And for those of you that like Shattered Grid, that's great. For me, it becomes too confusing because there's so many characters, I can't keep up. But it's still good. The writing's good. The art is good. I love it. So I would encourage you guys to do that. And, all the pops that have come out based on the original characters are pretty cool as an actor. And the fact that it's still going on for 20. Do you have them all?
Every one of them.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for that. I don't get any money from that, but
Sorry.
thank you for supporting the franchise regardless. In terms of other original stuff coming out, I don't know. You know, Jason Frank is an entity of his own because he just wants to do Power Rangers, and he's really good about marketing himself and you know, being in touch. He was in touch with Saban and really like doing all these things. Bat in the Sun, who did the, what did I want to call it, the Street Fighter, the Super Beatdown thing.
Yep.
You know, they had done that even before. It was really successful, and now that they just did whatever it was that they just released a little while ago has been really successful. So I know all of us are open to doing stuff from the original cast, but I will say that we are union actors, and the TV show and all those kind of things are still filmed non-union. And so I personally wouldn't go back unless they followed the guidelines of the Screen Actors Guild and AFTRA in the United States, which are our actor unions. Just because, just like getting a black belt, we work so hard to become union actors to protect ourselves. And you know, Haim Saban, who owned this franchise before Hasbro, is worth $4 billion, and we as actors have nothing in a lot of ways. And
I'm a
so,
union worker as well, so I totally.
You are? Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, unions are very important. So it just, if they want to shoot things union, we would all be there. But until that happens, it's kind of like, you know, we're kind of on the fence about it. But, I mean, I would definitely go back in a heartbeat.
No, for sure. Awesome. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Go union or go home.
Okay.
Hi there.
Hey.
A lot of people know you as the original Blue Ranger, especially since afterwards there were a lot of people who wore the helmet, the tights, whatever. But with the reboot movie that came out a few years ago, you could actually be called the original Billy Cranston. So I'm wondering, what was it like hearing or knowing that another actor would be portraying a character that you had originally portrayed?
So you're talking about the movie that came out in okay. For a second there, I was like, wait, did I miss something? Oh yeah, the movie that came out in 2017. I mean, obviously, I was excited. I mean, I get excited that there's an attraction to the original characters and those personalities. So I was excited that R.J. Kyler got to play Billy. I think he's such a talented actor, and he did such a great job in the movie. I couldn't be more proud. He and I met a few times for lunch before he played Billy, while he was playing Billy, and I think after he was playing Billy. So, you know, I never gave him any advice. He didn't ever ask for any. He certainly doesn't need it. He did a great job, and I was just excited. I was excited for all of the actors, and I wish the film had done better. I think it would have been better if they would have included the original cast in a different way, instead of just having Jason and Amy. I mean, the way that they used them, I think, was insulting to them, just to take selfies at the very end of a film. But, you know, I think as fans, it would have pulled people in more if they had brought the original characters, that the original actors that those characters were actually played by. I would have been a janitor, happy to play a janitor, and just push a broom past RJ and maybe just have a look. You know, I think things like that would have helped solidify the film a little bit more. They should have played the theme song more. They should have asked Austin St. John, hey, how do you say it's morphin' time? Because the way that they said it in the movie was really disappointing, and you know, I don't want to sound like I hated the film, because I didn't. I loved it, but there's just little things that they could have done better to really make the movie more than it was. So, but I was excited to see the original characters on screen. I hope you liked it. Did you like it?
I liked it, yeah.
Okay, good.
That was really good.
Hopefully I didn't spoil anything for anybody that hasn't seen it, if you haven't seen it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my question is, what is the so bad it's good kind of villain you've seen in the show?
Say it one more time. Can you speak really into the microphone?
Yeah, I'm just asking, what is the worst but so good villain that you guys got to fight on the show?
The worst villain that we had to fight on the show?
So bad it's good, kind of worse.
So I can't understand.
So
Like
bad.
this, like the lipstick, like so bad that,
Oh,
that
so
it's
bad
great.
that it's so good. Probably the lipstick. I mean, that. The purse. There was a purse monster and a lipstick monster that I remember, and I just thought, what is going on?
And a rapping pumpkin.
So, do you have one that you thought was so bad that it was so good?
The rapping pumpkin.
Oh well, yeah, but I don't think he was so bad. I thought he was kind of cool. But yeah, that one's. I keep seeing more and more clips of that, obviously, because we're coming up on Halloween. So you see the rapping pumpkin. There was also a pachinko machine. I don't. The Japanese come up with some amazing stuff, I gotta say. But probably almost every monster was weird in their own way, right?
Yeah.
So good question though. I think we have like 9 minutes, guys.
Yeah.
Is that it? You want to be done early? No?
No, we got.
Oh, we got one more. Okay, sorry.
It's okay. I'm short. I'm sure.
Just so we know, there's nothing wrong with being short. You're the second person that said I'm short. I'm short. There's nothing wrong with it.
I'm sure all Mighty Morphin Power Ranger fans has a favorite episode. I mean, I know I do. What was your favorite episode to shoot?
Well, I did 200 episodes, so I have a lot. But I always say my 3 favorite episodes are all from the first season. Switching Places, when Billy and Kimberly switched personalities, was a lot of fun to film. And Power Ranger Punks, which I think they showed a clip of, that was also a lot of fun to film. And then the food fight episode with Pudgy Pig, it was cool because we had to have an actual food fight on camera and got to throw food at our crew and stuff like that. But that being said, there is an episode called A Different Drum, which deals with a deaf girl. And we had to shoot a scene in the it's the youth center, part of the juice bar. And I just remember you'll see me on a wheel cart, and I fall on the cart, and the cart goes all over the place inside the youth center, and then it crashes, and I fall off and all that. That scene was like probably one of my most fun things to film. So it was just, I don't know how to explain it. It was pretty cool. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
All right, go shorties.
Hello.
Hi.
I loved Power Rangers as a kid, and my favorite thing that I ever had were these little holographic trading cards that I ate a lot of really bad cereal to get. And I just wondered what was like the weirdest Power Rangers merchandise thing you ever had to sign or that you ever saw.
Well, there's a lot of weird merchandise that I'm always surprised about. I think Bubble Bath is one of them. People still bring macaroni and cheese. There was Power Ranger macaroni and cheese in a box. And so people bring me that box to sign, still full of the macaroni and cheese that hasn't been cooked, but I think that's so gross. It's like, it's 25 years old. So I mean, I probably would think the macaroni and cheese is probably the weirdest that somebody kept it that long, but I mean, it's pristine condition. I don't know. Now I'm going to go home, I know, tonight, and I'll be laying in bed, and at 2 in the morning, I'll be like, oh, that was the weirdest thing that I signed. But there's so much merchandise. It's crazy from the 90s. And I luckily have a mother who was so proud of her son that she went out and bought every piece of merchandise Power Rangers possible. And so I have like an entire attic full of stuff that I still don't know what I'm going to do with. I'm sure at some day I'll sell it or give it away.
I bet you could make a lot of money. I've had people offer me huge amounts of money for those 5 cards.
Right?
Yeah.
It's crazy. I mean, maybe I could make a lot of money. I know I could. I don't know if that's what I want to do with it. I probably will end up just giving it away at some point.
Yeah.
Like one Christmas in a few years. But I foolishly, when I first started doing Comic-Cons, the first one I did was in 2010, and I didn't know anything about Comic-Cons, and Jason Frank was like, oh, just come do the show with me. I was like, okay, whatever. And anyways, I took my original movie script from the movie, my script, still in the binder with all the different colored pages of all the page changes, all my notes, everything, and I just gave it away. Like I did a little contest, and I gave it, gave it away, along with, like in the movie, Zordon's cylinder gets shattered, and he's laying in a bed of crystals, and so I had taken some crystals from the set And I'd kept those all these years, and at that same Comic-Con, I gave out those crystals, and I was just giving away stuff left and right. And then, I don't know who told me, said, you might want to settle down on that and just sort of keep that stuff because you have no idea what that's going to be worth. So, and I don't even think the fans I gave it to at the time thought too much of it. Like when I gave the person my movie script, they were like, cool. So now I'm a little upset that I gave it away, but whatever. So lots of crazy merchandise, long story short. Sorry guys, I went off on a tangent. That's what happens when you get old.
Thank you.
You turn into one of those old men. All right.
We
Two
have
more
5
questions.
minutes left, so
Okay.
we'll take these 2 for sure.
Okay.
First, thank you so much for being here. Like, childhood dream come true. My
Thank you.
question is regards to the movie. What was it like filming a movie like this thing was so uniquely original to the American Power Rangers?
What was it like to film the movie? So it was a lot different than the TV show in the sense that when you film a movie, it takes a lot longer. So we went to Australia to film the movie, and we were supposed to be there for 3 months, and we ended up being there for 6 months because we had to reshoot a lot of the movie because the studio wasn't very happy with some of the monsters that we were using, and the character of Dulcia got replaced. So we reshot a lot of stuff. So that was tough, and because we got so far behind in the movie, we were getting behind in the TV show. So they made us film the movie and the TV show concurrently at the same time, which is very stressful. I think there was a point where we worked 21 days straight without any days off, and 12 to 15-hour days. So it was really tough. But the movie obviously was a lot of fun to film just because we had bigger sets. I think Ivan Ooze was probably one of the coolest villains we've had to take on. The actor Paul Freeman did an amazing job, and I don't know, it was just a lot of fun. We got to pretend to skydive, and we got to rollerblade, so we got to do a lot of cool stuff. Does that sort of answer your question?
Yes, thank
All right, and thank you. Last question.
Hi. Less
Hi.
of a question, more of a request. Could you say it's morphing time?
I don't think your mic's on.
Oh, sorry. Could you say it's morphing time?
I still can't hear her.
Can't hear.
Isn't it?
I really don't. Is her mic on?
I don't hear anything. No.
I feel like I said it. I said how Austin always said, it's morphin' time. So I just, I said it. Is that what you want me to do? I mean, I'm not good. I always said, it's time for molecular transmutation. That's how Billy says it's morphin' time. So it's morphin' time, and yeah, no, I mean, I always feel weird now saying that because I just feel like Austin says it in such a good way, and Jason David Frank says it in a good way too, that anybody else that does it, it's kind of disappointing. For me. I mean, I'm happy to say Triceratops. Is that okay? Does that?
That was good.
You think so?
I got excited, and I don't think you gave yourself enough credit at the beginning when you were talking about, how you had to look up all these words because you used concurrently perfectly in a sentence just a minute ago.
Like I said, Billy made me a smarter individual human in real life. Like I feel I'm much smarter now.
I think Billy made us all better.
I hope so.
In a lot of ways. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This was wonderful.
Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you. Love you. Thank you.
David Yost. Thanks, everybody.
Hal-Con.